How's it going, guys? It's K Cars, and today I'm going to be making a video, kind of like a tutorial video on what the sport mode actually does on a Dodge Challenger ScatPack. So before I actually get in the car and start explaining to you guys some of the features of sport mode, I'm just going to briefly talk about it outside at first. So basically, when you hit that sport button on the car, a green flag will show up in the dash next to the speedometer and tachometer, and you'll also see a yellow symbol that says traction, and that means traction control has been turned off. So whenever you press that button, it basically turns off the traction control and gives you that green flag, letting you know that you're in sport mode. So once you're in sport mode, the car's suspension immediately tightens up, the steering becomes more firm, and it feels like you're in more of a race car. And also, the transmission is a lot more aggressive, so whenever it shifts, you can actually feel the shift. They are not smooth. It's kind of like a Lamborghini Aventador with their single clutch paddle shifters. They like throw you back in the seat whenever you shift. That's kind of how sport mode is in a Dodge Challenger ScatPack. And one other thing is that the throttle response is a lot better. So let's go ahead and jump in the car and I'll show you guys what sport mode does, how to turn it on, and how to customize it for your own settings. Go ahead and get in the car and show you guys what the sport mode button does. Alright, so first I'm going to go ahead and start up the car. Sounds pretty nice. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click the sport button, and you'll see the green flag and the traction button. And right there, you can see the green flag is right there, letting you know that you're in sport mode. And the traction control off light is right there, and you saw it said traction control sport. So now I'm going to show you guys exactly how to customize the settings of sport mode. Alright, so once you get in, you want to hit apps, which I already did. Then you want to click performance control. Then here's where your launch control settings are, but we want to click on drive mode setup. I'll make a separate video explaining how to do the launch control stuff, but right here I'm just going to set up the sport mode. So you click drive mode setup, and here you see default mode setup and sport mode setup. So since we are in sport mode, we're going to go ahead and look at that. So here you can see the engine and transmission is in sport mode. You can see normal mode is like that. Everything's basically in sport mode when you hit that button. So the paddle shifters, it says on. That doesn't mean they're always on, that just means they're available to use. It'll still shift automatically unless you put it in manual. So you can see the traction control is in sport mode and the steering is in sport mode. So the steering actually does make a big difference. You can really tell that it's a lot more firm in sport mode. If you're curious, these are the settings that I have for default mode. Normal for engine and transmission, paddle shifters still available to use, traction control on normal, and the steering on normal. And here you can just see what your settings are right there. You can see the current mode is in sport mode because you can see that green flag right there. And it shows you what's in sport mode, and so pretty much everything. So if I go ahead and turn sport mode off, you'll see it'll change. You see it changed to default, and all the settings change to show you what settings you're in. So there's really many uses for sport mode, like drag racing, or if you're on a track or something like that, or if you're just out and you want to have some fun on some back roads. And yes, this car can turn and handle turns, so you actually can drive this car on back roads, but that's going to be a separate video. So the point I'm trying to make is that the sport mode on a Dodge Challenger ScatPack actually does work. So you know how in some cars, you press the sport button and really nothing happens, it's just there for show. But in the Dodge Challenger, it actually makes a difference in the performance of the car. So as you saw what I showed you, it basically makes the engine and transmission a lot more faster, so the shifts are a lot faster and a lot more aggressive. You can actually feel when it shifts. It's really not that smooth. Like I said, it's like a single clutch gearbox in a Lamborghini Aventador, but that's what it feels like. And also, like I said before, the traction control turns off. You saw that orange light, it said traction off or traction sport. Whenever I put the car in sport mode, I usually leave the traction control on just because this car has 245s on the back and it spins like crazy. I know in sport mode you're supposed to have the traction control off so the engine doesn't limit any power, but if I had that on, the tires would just keep spinning and I'd have no control over the car. I am planning to get wider tires really soon, but that won't be an issue for too long. And also with the paddle shifters, you saw that it said in sport mode the paddle shifters are on. Like I said, That doesn't mean that they're always on, it just means that you have the option to use them if you put the car in manual mode. Something that I really like about having sport mode in this car is that you can actually feel that the RPMs are a lot higher and it stays in a lower gear, just in case you're about to race somebody or just stuff like that. It's always ready when you just want to mash the throttle. So I actually did a test recently where I just held my foot straight on the gas, didn't move it at all, and I pressed the sport button and it automatically downshifted and it was a lot more responsive, and the car just sped up immediately, and I didn't change anything with the throttle position or anything like that. So that just shows you that the sport mode on this car actually does work, like I keep saying. So that just shows you how good of a performance car the Dodge Challenger actually is, and I really think Dodge did a great job with the 2015 and up models of the Challenger and Charger. Like I said before, I'm going to be making a video tutorial on how to use the launch mode on this Dodge Challenger ScatPack. Make sure to subscribe to this channel if you want to see that. Also, I have a bunch of different Challenger videos like the muffler delete and pretty much all kinds of Challenger content. Also a bunch of different car content like reviews, drag racing, car meets, and vlogs. So if you like stuff like that, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you found this video informative or if you liked it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and comment some video suggestions that you would like to see in the future. And as always, thanks for watching.